We have used many times strings in our programs, and you may have noticed that when we talked about primitive types, we did not mention string. And the reason is that string is not a primitive type in Java, it is a reference type. So there is a class called string which defines what a string is. Now this class has, we can say, a special status in Java, in meaning that there is no reason for us to import a particular path where the compiler is going to find the definition of the string class that is defined in the Java library. The string class is built into the language. We can also use string literals by just having the double quotes and then the string inside. So string is a very useful class, is a very useful type, and for this reason it has this special treatment in Java. Because string is a class, however, it means that instances of this class, the literals, are actually objects. They are objects that we can create through the new operator. We don't have to, but we can do that. The string variables, whenever we're declaring a variable, for example s, that is of type string, and we are assigning to that variable a string like hello, then that variable is a reference to the object hello. Exactly the same way as we have seen references, other reference types so far. There are many different operations that we can perform on strings, and perhaps the one that will come to your mind is the concatenation, the way that we concatenate two strings. The plus operator in Java is overloaded, as you have already seen. It can mean string concatenation, but it can also mean addition, as we have seen in several examples. Many of the operations that we can perform on strings are actually defined in the string class, and it is very highly recommended that you take a look at the string API, and actually we will take a quick walk through the API together. There we will see examples of very useful methods like the concat method, which is also represented by just the plus operator. We will see the method length, which will return to us how long the string is, how many characters does it have, and other useful methods like char at, that will return to us the character that is at a specific index, and index of, which will return to us the index where a particular character is. We will see them in more detail in just a minute. A very, very important note. We are not used to start counting from 0. However, this is what we do in programming. If I have the string, for example, 2, the word 2, and I want to say to give an index to each of the letters in the word, the indices that I'm going to give will be the very first letter will have index 0, so T will have index 0, the second letter will have index 1, the third letter will have index 2. So T will have index 0, W will have index 1, O will have index 2. This is, especially for beginner programmers, this is very odd, but it is something that you will get very used to. It is just important to observe and pay attention to it from the very beginning. Another very important comment about strings is the fact that in Java, strings are immutable. What does that mean? Whenever we perform an operation on a string, the result that we are going to get will not be the original string altered. The original string will be as it was before. The result that we're going to get will be a new string that has the properties that we wish. For example, if we apply the method substring, as we will see in a minute, on a particular string, because we want only part of that, the string that will be returned will be a completely new string. the original string will still be as it was. Now let's go and take a look at the API of the string class. We will walk through it relatively fast, but you can take a closer look yourselves. As usual, the string class will have a description of what it does and how. Then we will have a list of fields, which for the string class is not particularly important. It will have the list of constructors, and then a method summary. Just as a side note, it was actually mentioned in the description at the very top of the string class. In Java, strings are not arrays of characters. This sentence will only make sense to you if you are familiar with a different programming language, like C, for example, where in C, strings are represented internally as arrays of characters. This is not the case in Java. So if Java is your first programming language, you don't have to pay particular attention to the comment that I just made. This is only to help you if you come from a different programming language. You shouldn't be confused on this matter. Strings in Java are a little bit different. Let's take a look at the method summary then. We already mentioned about the char at. We provide the index, it will return the character value at that specified index. Again, if we say 2.char at 1, the string 2 dot, we invoke the method char at on the string 2, and we provide as index the number 1, what character will that return? It will return the character W, not the character T. Remember, index starts from 0. Contains is another method that you will probably find useful, and again you can take a look at what it exactly does. Ends with, we can figure out whether a particular string ends with a specified suffix. Format, the format method is a method that we will talk more when we mention the printf method. The index of method that we already mentioned, and the usual way we are going to use it will be this form, where we only provide one argument, the index of the character that we want. Length returns the length of the string. We will use it so commonly that it will almost become second nature. Replace can be used from time to time. Split. Split is also a useful method that you may want to take a look at. But even more useful is the substring method. And actually, if you haven't done that already, we can click on the methods and find out more details about that, a more detailed description, which includes usually examples. So the reason I clicked on substring is so that you note a particular characteristic about it, which is the fact when we want to take a substring from a string, we will have to provide two indices, the begin index and the end index. Now the substring that we will get back will, as you can read here, it will begin at the specified begin index and extend to the character at index end index -1. Let's see an example. Let's see the example highlighted on the second line. We invoke the method substring on the string smiles, and we say substring 1.1,5. What substring will that return? The first character of the substring will be the character at index 1. So the substring will start from M. The last character of the substring will be at index 4. So if we start counting from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, E will be the last character of the substring. This is why the method will return to us mile. And again, remember, strings are immutable. What does that mean? the string smiles has not been changed. If we had a string variable there, for example, we had said string L becomes equal to smiles, and on the next line we said L dot substring 1.5. That would return mile, but the string referenced by L would still be smiles. So if we printed L after that, it would print smiles. It would not print mile, because strings are immutable. You can try this example that I just mentioned yourself in order to strengthen your understanding around it if you like.